Hello, good evening. It's 5 p.m. Welcome to 505. Coming up this evening, a major win for the government. After more than 2 years on the run, convicted former Maslock chief executive said Kwame Okyere Jnr. is now in the custody of the Ghana police following her extradition from the U.S. state.
Held that her actions during her tenure as Maslock chief executive between 2013 and 2016 resulted in financial loss of nearly 90 million Ghana cedis to the state.
Well, said Kwame Okyere Jnr., convicted by an Accra High Court and sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor, landed in Ghana earlier today.
Her return to Ghana follows a lengthy extradition process initiated by the government of Ghana after she failed to return to the country following a medical trip to the United States.
Meanwhile, the Attorney General is heading to Washington for bilateral talks with the U.S. Department of Justice on all pending extradition requests between the two countries, a meeting that could determine the fate of several individuals who have fled Ghanaian justice. Stay with us for full details and analysis of what could happen going forward. Also coming up, Konfanoche Teaching Hospital doctors suspend strike after meeting with Santehene and other regional authorities. Minority in Parliament demands Sports Minister briefs the House on World Cup preparations 2 days to the start of the global competition.
We have asked for this more than 2 weeks for the minister to come here to brief us. Why is the minister responsible for youth and sports running away from Parliament to brief us? We have not been briefed. The players are already they've already gone for the World Cup and we have not been briefed. And you think that this is a matter we must not know?
We'll take you Parliament for full details still to come tonight on 505. A police arrests a Nyinehini Catholic senior high school teacher for assaulting a student, and later this evening security personnel launched a manhunt for the driver of a tipper truck who fled the scene of a fatal crash on the Tema motorway.
Unfortunately, we couldn't find him. Eyewitnesses said that they saw him jump and flee the scene. People were blaming him for the accident, that he was speeding. That's one side of the story. But I would want to again make sure that we get him and then aid him. Can aid in the investigation.
And in business tonight,
government revises 2026 petroleum revenue target to $1.5 billion.
We have these and more stories plus some interesting analysis to do. Stay with us. We're coming to you live from our studios here. Digital address 0423598 North Laboni. Third that they work on Class 91.3 FM in Accra. You're live on Ho FM 92.5 Hills 91.7 at Daklu, both in the Volta region. Max Empire 96.9 Buzzwa in the Upper East region. Dagbon FM 102.5 in Tamale Radio Park 96 in Spain. We're live on Facebook. Connect with us or join us with a thought, comment and contribution to the hashtag 505. Alternatively through our WhatsApp number 0500,000 202. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr. It's time. It's 505. Welcome. Well, 505 is always brought to you by Electroland Ghana Limited, MTN everywhere you go, and review scratch for win. To the very first story, said Kwame Okyere Jnr., who was convicted and sentenced by Ghana High Court in absentia in April 2024, has arrived in Accra and been handed over to the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Prison Service to begin serving her sentence. Attorney General, the Minister for the Attorney General and later Minister for Government Communication, Phyllis Kwachifo, disclosed the development today, June 9, 2026, in a post on social media confirming that the extradition process, which began over 2 years ago, had been successfully concluded. According to Kwachifo, the government of Ghana submitted a formal extradition request to the United States in July 2024, seeking her surrender to serve her sentence. After more than 2 years of court proceedings in the U.S., American authorities notified the Ghanaian government of her surrender in January this year. She arrived in Accra today, June 9, 2026. There's more in the following news desk report.
Sadina Tamaklua arrived at the Accra International Airport on Tuesday, June 9, aboard United Airlines flight UA996, which landed approximately at 9:01 a.m. after departing from Washington International Airport in the United States at 11:44 a.m. Sources familiar with the process confirmed that upon arrival, she was received by security personnel and taken into custody. She is currently undergoing debriefing briefing and medical examinations as part of standard procedures before being transferred to begin serving her sentence. Her return to Ghana follows a lengthy extradition process initiated by the government of Ghana after she failed to return to the country following a medical trip to the United States. In 2024, the Accra High Court convicted Sedina Tamaklo Ationu in absentia and sentenced her to 10 years imprisonment after finding her guilty of multiple offenses, including causing financial loss to the state and stealing. The court held that her actions during her tenure as Maslock Chief Executive between 2013 and 2016 resulted in financial loss of nearly 90 million Ghana cedis to the state. Their conviction stemmed from a prolonged legal battle involving allegations of misappropriation and the diversion of state resources during her administration of the government-founded microfinance institution. Sedina Tamaklo Ationu had initially been granted permission by the High Court in 2021 to travel to the United States for medical treatment while her trial was ongoing. However, she failed to return to Ghana to continue participating in the proceedings, prompting the court to continue the trial in her absence. Following the conviction and sentencing, Ghanaian authorities intensified efforts to secure her return. In 2025, the government of Ghana formally requested her extradition from the United States. The extradition request was subsequently considered by the U.S. District Court sitting in the state of Nevada. After reviewing the application and supporting legal documentation submitted by Ghanaian authorities, the court certified the extradition request, paving the way for her to return to Ghana to face the consequences of the court's judgment.
So that's a news desk report there. Well, the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, which confirmed the extradition of Sedina Tamaklo Ationu in a statement shared on its social media platforms, said the development reflects a strong law enforcement cooperation between Ghana and the United States of America and a shared commitment to accountability. My colleague Charles Akrofi joins me in studio with details of what a statement saying from the U.S. Embassy Ghana. Charles, good to have you on the show. What exactly are the details in there?
Well, so Kwame, just as you said, the U.S. Embassy here in Accra, Ghana, has issued a statement, and this statement was actually posted on the Facebook page since morning, and it says that justice has no borders. The United States has extradited Sedina Tamaklo Ationu to Ghana following her conviction on 70-plus corruption-related charges, including embezzling more than $6 million equivalent in Ghanaian taxpayer funds. This is a strong U.S.-Ghana law enforcement partnership, an action demonstrating a shared commitment to accountability and the first extradition from the United States to Ghana since 2009. And then they mentioned the U.S. Embassy here in Ghana and also Ghana Ministry of Foreign Affairs in that regard. So that's a statement coming in there from the U.S. Embassy here in Ghana, essentially confirming that, Sedina Ationu Tamaklo has been extradited back into the country, Kwame, as we have it.
I see. Well, start with me because the Minister for Government Communication, Felix Kwame Fosu, also announced in a social media post that Ghana's Attorney General is scheduled to meet officials of the U.S. Department of Justice for bilateral discussions on all pending extradition requests between the two countries. What are the details on Felix's social media post?
4 pointers, essentially, as regards the post as Felix Kwame Fosu posted on Facebook today. And the first one, it says that in April 2024, the High Court convicted and sentenced Sedina Tamaklo Ationu in absentia. And in July 2024, the government of Ghana submitted an extradition request to the United States for her surrender to Ghana to serve her sentence. That's the first point we note there, which has got to do with, essentially some background to the issue. Now, the second point that Felix Fosu also notes, he says that after over 2 years of court proceedings, the United States authorities notified the government of a surrender in January this year. She arrived in Accra on Tuesday, June 9, 2026, which is today. And the third point, officials of the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Prison Service have taken her into custody and are making the necessary preparations for her to begin her sentence. And the fourth point, which is what essentially you talked about, just a short while ago. It says that the Attorney General is scheduled to meet her counterpart or his counterpart at the United States Department of Justice for a bilateral discussion on all pending extradition requests between the two countries. And Kwame, just stemming from that, it will be important that we get into the details of all the requests that are, before the U.S. authorities. And we're talking about key cases currently pending between Ghana and the United States. And of course, the very famous one we can talk about at this point in time is the former Finance Minister
Ken Ofori-Atta.
And we know that Ken Ofori-Atta is facing charges related to alleged corruption in multiple government contracts, including a 125 million Ghana cedis contract between the government or the Ghana Revenue Authority and Strategic Mobilization Limited, and the $400 million National Cathedral project. You recall this issue has been quite topical. I mean, even till date, from the erstwhile administration until date, has been one of the issues that government, this current administration, then in opposition, currently, talked a lot about it. And so that issue is the $400 million National Cathedral project, an ambulance procurement for the Ministry of Health, and the electricity company contract. So the Office of the Special Prosecutor formally charged him on November 18, 2025. What we do know is that he traveled to the United States in early 2025 seeking medical treatment. And by January 6, 2026, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement took him into custody in Washington, D.C., and he has been held at the Caroline Detention Facility in Bowling Green, Virginia. So 2 separate proceedings are currently running against him in the U.S., one relating to alleged immigration violations, which began in January 2026, and a second concerning Ghana's formal extradition request seeking his return to stand trial. So his case has been repeatedly adjourned in Ghana while the U.S. process continues. The second one I can talk about, which is not so popular, if you like, has got to do with one Ernest Dakun Akore, who is the former technical advisor to the finance minister. Now, Akore is wanted in Ghana to face charges alongside Ken Ofori-Atta. He left Ghana on November 19, 2024 for New York, and he holds both a U.S. passport and a Ghanaian passport, which is a complication that makes his return significantly harder than Ofori-Atta's, since as a U.S. citizen, he cannot simply be deported. So the U.S. Department of Justice sought advice from the OSP on whether to arrest Akore before serving him with a summons, or to serve the summons before any arrest, given his dual citizenship status. So that is one key case which is also lying before the U.S. authorities. And then the third one we can talk about, which is the very recent one involving Frederick Kumi, popularly known as Abu Trika. Which is who is a socialized accused of romance fraud. So unlike the others, this case runs in the opposite direction, Kwame. Now the U.S. is seeking to extradite Kumi to America, and he was arrested in Ghana in December 2025 following a joint operation by the FBI and Ghanaian security agencies. So U.S. prosecutors allege he ran an $8 million romance fraud network that used fake online identities, including AI-generated photos and voices, to defraud elderly Americans. And the High Court ruling on whether to surrender him to U.S. Marshals was expected on June 11, 2026. So Kwame, these are 3 major cases between the two countries, of course, lying before the U.S. authorities as we speak currently. Abu Trika, as we have it now, we know he's on bail, and he's been making some appearances here and there. We know that he's also been appearing in courts every now and then with regards to the issue. So Kwame, these are the big issues that are, currently before the two, countries.
I see. Thank you so much. That's my colleague Charles Akrofi giving us the details of what the U.S. Embassy Ghana has been talking about, and also the Minister for Government Communication, Phyllis Kwachifosu, has also been talking about, and what we should expect from these two countries, U.S. and Ghana, as far as extradition of or some persons is concerned related to corruption related offenses. The Abu Trika conversation is also on. Some romance has come. We'll deal with that matter. We'll speak with a lawyer shortly on the show, but unfortunately we were unable to establish contact with him. But you can join the conversation 0500,202. What do you make of this extradition? Or former Maslok boss Sedna Tamaklo, who is currently in the country. Many describe it as a significant move to as far as the fight against corruption is concerned. Also, as a former government appointee being extradited into the country, it sends a strong connection to the fact that government is really on its tools when it comes to the fight against corruption. We have also heard and seen the former Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tuayeboa, also indicating the fact that, I mean, he does not see where this particular conversation would go, because this is a former government appointee who served in the John Mahama administration. So, I mean, nothing really could come out of this extradition. We're keeping an eye on this move. This is 505 on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. To some other stories, doctors at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital have suspended their strike effective 6 p.m. today following interventions by the Asantehene Otumfuo Setutu II, the hospital's board, the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, and other stakeholders. The Konfanochi Doctors Association says the decision was reached at an emergency meeting where members agreed to resume work while discussions continue on measures to improve referrals, patients management, and healthcare delivery. We'll speak with our Ashanti Regional correspondent shortly, but let me share details of what exactly transpired during the meeting. So there's a lengthy communique from that meeting. Says that emergency cadre meeting, as a Konfanochi Doctors Association meeting on 9th June 2026, that's today at 11 a.m. at the disaster room at the Accident and Emergency Center at Cath. The meeting discussed the suspension of the strike action effective 6 p.m. On June 9, 2026, following intervention by His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Setutu, the Board of Directors of the hospital, the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, the Regional Health Directorate, and other stakeholders. Key action points include the establishment of a referral platforms to manage critical patients' incidents, the need for clear communication, and the adoption of the bed management system to manage patient overflow and reverse referral point. The group also emphasized the need for concrete timelines and guidelines from ARCC to ensure effective implementation of the agreed upon measures. I'll come back to this story, but let's go back to our earlier story and have a conversation. I told you we'll engage a private legal practitioner on this matter. I've been joined on Zoom by a private legal practitioner, lawyer Alexander Aban. Counsel, I'm grateful for your time on 505 this evening.
You're welcome, my brother.
First of all, let me have your reaction or your take on the extradition of Madam Sedna Tamaklu, a former Masonok boss who is currently in police custody.
Thank you very much. We have all been crying about the levels of corruption and all that, and especially in government prosecutions and all that. Mm. So it comes as refreshing news, especially when the party in government now is the party that she served under when all these allegations of malfeasance allegedly occurred. So it is refreshing, but we have to understand that the government of Ghana had to definitely send an extradition request. That request will have to be interrogated thoroughly and seriously to be able to show that indeed she is not being brought here to be persecuted for reasons other than commission of crime. And so if the United States court have gone through all the checks, the hurdles, and has come to a firm determination that indeed she must come to serve her sentence or stand trial as the case may be, it is refreshing. Because I think that by and by the political class are losing the trust of the people because we come into politics or we come into government and soon after our appointment, we start displaying such vulgar opulence to even get the masses angry. And so probably this would serve as a lesson to all other politicians or other appointees of government to know that when they are put there, they are there to hold a position in trust for the well-being of the people of Ghana. So it is refreshing.
She was convicted in absentia. Does her return to Ghana affect the validity of that conviction or sentence in any way?
Okay, so the position of the law in the Constitution, I believe Article 19 or Article 14, is that the trial of any person must be in his presence. That is the default position, and that's the ideal position, because you must be able to confront your accusers and be afforded the opportunity to to cross-examine them and all that. So that's the default position of the law. But the law also envisions a situation like this where the person would decide not to cooperate. And so when you have been given all the opportunity and you do not exercise it, the courts have the right to order the prosecution to go on and adduce evidence which will have to have the quality of what is called proof beyond reasonable doubt. And then on the basis of that, you'll be convicted. And so once the trial is done, the court has become what we call functus officio. That court, by this I mean all high courts, cannot sit on that case again. So that judgment is valid. And as it is now, all she needs to do is to either appeal against the judgment or serve her sentence.
So what it means is that as she is already in the country, she has options legally.
Yes, the law also is that anybody in a criminal matter, either the prosecution or the accused person, has a month to appeal. But because it has to do with the liberty of the person, almost always, invariably, the courts are always ready to extend time or expand time for convicted persons to file an appeal. The court may not afford the state or the prosecution such liberties because the prosecution doesn't stand to be put in jail anyway. It is the accused person who has that risk to bear. And so as the courts are ready to expand time for people, sometimes somebody may have even gone to serve part of the sentence. He narrates his story to somebody and they say, okay, let us go and see extension of time to appeal. And almost always the courts are willing to listen to such persons again. So the fact that she stayed away may not be a reason why she may be denied the right to an appeal. But the question is whether her lawyers were there to cross-examine the witnesses of the state or the prosecution, and how, because on appeal, you're not going to adduce any fresh evidence. So how is she going to overturn that judgment? It's a Herculean task, but it's a right she can exercise, but it's not going to come that easy.
I see. What practical outcomes could emerge from those discussions? I'm talking about the upcoming meeting between Ghana's Attorney General and the U.S. Department of Justice.
I don't think any discussion between Ghana's Attorney General and representatives of the Department of Justice in the United States is going to bother on the judicial process which has already taken place. It may be on some other things, but not necessarily in relation to Sedina Tamaklo alone. It may be on broad policy discussions and all that. Because, like I said, the two persons, they cannot sit in judgment or they cannot sit on appeal over the judgment of the High Court. And so that discussion may not at all deal with the judicial process, which has already been concluded by the High Court in the conviction of the lady.
I see. Do you see or do you expect more extraditions to follow in the coming months? Because we have that of the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta hanging, the technical advisor to the former Finance Minister is also hanging, and then Abutrika, who is also into allegedly into romance scam, is also hanging. Do you see more extradition in the coming months?
Usually, every extradition is fought on the merits because the requesting country will have to show that the person indeed has a case to answer, criminal case to answer, and that the request for extradition is not a subterfuge to persecute the person for one kind of belief, political or religious belief that the person holds. Because it could be a subterfuge for the person to be persecuted instead of prosecuted. And so they will deal with each case on its merit, on the peculiar facts of those cases, and then come to a determination. So to that extent, I'm unable to say that we are going to have more extraditions being done. If I say we are going to have more extraditions being done, then it means then that I myself have formed an opinion that those people have, if I say, committed crimes. But in all sincerity, I have not even read the charges against them. I have not seen the bill of indictment to see the summary of evidence and what they stand to come to answer. And so it will depend on the collaboration between the two countries and the assurances that the requesting party or the requesting country would do to assure the receiving party or the receiving country that we are not going to persecute these persons. Of course, I believe that lawyers of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta may put in all brought together to stand trial. In much the same way, here, I think Abutrika also has his own lawyers also fighting it. So I would not second guess or preempt what the court would do, since it would depend on the pieces of evidence that will be placed before them.
I see. Well, Counsel, let me thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm grateful that you joined the conversations.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
So that's private legal practitioner Alexander Aban, who joined this discussion. This is 505 on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. So you want to share your thoughts with us on our WhatsApp number 0500,000 202 0500,000 202, and then you join the conversation. Here we're trying to establish contact with the members in government. That's Deputy Communications Officer for the National Democratic Congress, Godwin Akoghan, but unfortunately we were unable to connect with him. So I'll take you to the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital again, and answer when we gets Godwin Akoghan. He's okay. We understand we have Godwin Akoghan. He will join us on Zoom shortly to also have the perspective of what the government is doing about it, because we know that Attorney General is heading towards the United States of America for more deliberations between the Ghana government and that of the United States of America. So we're looking forward to that conversation as well, and also have a conversation with the deputy communications officer for the NDC, Godwin Akugan. I was actually sharing a document with you coming from the the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. Now, these are the action items they have tabled. It says that to continue developing and implementing the regional healthcare policy, including organization and coordination within the region, using the discussion on board to refine and finalize the policy, to design and execute a public communication strategy that clearly explains core quality services, how and when to assess them, and how this information is reflected in any official document about strike decisions. Three, to obtain a written response from the Ashanti Regional Minister documenting the government's position on the recent meetings and issues raised by the doctors, and ensure this response is made public in the same way as leaked documents. Again, it says that prepare and table to the board a document outlining the emergency departments and referral coordination structure with other facility to prevent community congestion and seek immediate approval for its implementation. So this is the reason why they have called off the strike. Let me speak with Godwin Akugan, who is a deputy communications officer for the NDC. Akugan, let me say good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time on 505.
Thank you for having me, my brother.
Great. I have seen some members of within the MPP saying that this is a smart move by the government. While commending governments on this extradition, they also think that nothing really would come out of it at the end of the day. What is the position of government? What exactly does this mean when governments say saidness extradition is only the beginning?
Right. Thank you very much. And then let me appreciate the call and the conversation. And then the MPP, I'm surprised after calling for extradition of Honorable Kamaklo would say that this would end up to nothing. So if indeed it's not going to end up to anything, why were they pursuing or giving pressure that she should come and serve her term? I can confidently tell you that Sedinam is in the country, she's in custody, and the police or the state will not do anything to treat her differently from other citizens. She has a right to an appeal, she has a right to go to court and all that. So we would leave that to the state agencies for them to take over. And I'm happy the lawyers have also met her, and let's see how the week goes.
In fact, we also know from government communications minister, that's Phyllis Kwachifosu, who indicates that currently the Attorney General is on his way to US to have a conversation with the US authorities on this matter and other extraditions. We know that many have been calling for the extradition of the former finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Do you anticipate, is government committed to ensure that the other extraditions are being done as far as the fight against corruption is concerned?
Those processes have already begun, and then it's just about the collaboration between the two countries. And US have been open to us, and we've had a lot of conversations on this. If you look at the extradition of Sedinam, it was done with the US Foreign Affairs. So I don't think that we'll have a lot of challenges, and I'm not too sure if it's because of just 100% because of Ken Ofori-Atta. That's why the Attorney General is moving to US. There are other activities and other related matters that the two countries needs to address.
How much of this outcome would you attribute the current administration's efforts? I'm talking about the Sedinam extradition.
I can say about 70 to 80% for the effort of the administration to ensure that he comes. First, some lawyers engage here that you cannot live in somebody's country forever. So whatever the situation is, you have a right of an appeal. The judgment was read in your absence and all that. So why don't you take your turn and also clear your name and all that? So your absence gave you this 10 years sentence. So you can come back, fight your case, and just maybe, God willing, you may even win the case. So it wasn't in her interest to be outside. And we wouldn't also make this very partisan, because she as an individual also feels that this is the best time for her to fight her case. So she also wanted to come back and face the law.
I see. Gordon, let me thank you for your time this evening. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much.
So that's Gordon Akukan, who is the Deputy Communications Officer for the NDC. This is 505 on Class 91.3.
The World Cup football fever is here, and Electroland Ghana Limited is bringing the excitement of the stadium right into your home with unbeatable soccer promotion. Experience every goal and celebration in clarity, just like you're live at the stadium with discounts on Samsung, TCL, and NASCO Smart TVs. Make every match day perfect for your football watch parties with powerful air conditioners and air coolers, top and bottom mount chest and display fridges, gas cooker, washing machines, microwaves, small kitchen appliances, and more. This is the biggest football promo of the year. Rush to our showrooms and authorized dealer shops or call 050-315-9739. Electroland, bringing the stadium home.
"30 years ago, MTN arrived in Ghana and everything changed. Now, to celebrate 30 years, we are giving back big time. The MTN at 30 promo is here. 9 Toyota Land Cruiser Prados to be won. Over 10 million Ghana cedis in rewards, plus so much more. Connect to your everyday hustle on MTN. Make video calls. Browse the internet for business with family and friends. Connect your home to MTN Fiber. Make that money move on Momo and stay ahead, because every move counts. Ghana, let's celebrate 30 years of MTN with the MTN at 30 promo. Use more MTN services, build more points, and win big. Dial *530# or visit the My MTN app for more.
This is 505 on Class 91.3. Some 39 minutes after 5. Review scratch for win is here. So just dial *850*5# to play the game. It is easy, fun, and exciting to play. Choose your station, Class 91.3 on all networks. To play the game, actually, select stake amounts between 5 cities and 2,000 cities. Choose your lucky card out of 5 options. Confirm gameplay and enter your Momo pin. Receive your game result and win it instantly. It is easy, fun, and exciting. Get ready to scratch, win, and live your best life with Review Scratch for Win up to 1 million Ghana cedi for grabs. Review Scratch for Win is scratch keke nedisika say bam. Reveal is strictly for persons 18 years and above and is powered by Super Cash Games. While the minority in Parliament is pushing for the Sports Minister to urgently brief Parliament on Ghana's preparation and participation in the upcoming World Cup, according to the group, the Minister must update lawmakers on key issues including ticket pricing arrangement and other logistical matters ahead of the tournament, which kicks off on Thursday. First Deputy Minority Whip Habib Idrisu, also the MP for Tolong, says Parliament and the public deserve clarity on Ghana's readiness for the global competition and the measures being put in place to ensure its successful participation. Listen.
This is not the first World Cup Ghana is participating, and at all given time, we have been briefed as a Parliament by the Minister. I think tomorrow or 2 days' time, in less than 48 hours, the tournament is starting. Nothing has been said. The President has spoken to this matter that there might not be government-sponsored program. We have asked for this more than 2 weeks for the minister to come here to brief us. Why is the minister responsible for youth and sports running away from parliament to brief us? Whilst his members are not happy with certain happening that happen in the country.
Can you humbly read
Mr. Speaker,
item number C on the business statement, page 1?
Mr. Speaker, I don't think I need to read this. What I do know is that I
will read.
Mr. Speaker, I have made a point, and I don't know if you could allow the majority leader. He is very capable. And what I am saying, at business committee meeting this morning, I preempted him. I told him about these matters before. At business committee meeting. You were not there, but he was there. And I told him about these matters that I'm raising on the floor. I raised it at business committee meeting this morning. So what I'm saying is that, Mr. Speaker, the minister owes us a duty to brief us as a Ghana preparation for the World Cup. We have not been briefed. The players are already in, they've already gone for the World Cup, and we have not been briefed. And you think that this is a matter we must not know? We are aware that government have procured 1,000 tickets from GFA. We are aware. And the ambassador have issued a statement saying that Ghanaians in the diaspora should write their names and get tickets for the matches. Who bought the tickets? How much is it costing the taxpayers? Over 2,000 people went to American embassy for visas.
So,
visa fee 185. Who is paying it?
You
Who
think
are those
what
people?
you are doing is the tool available for you?
I preempted him. I told him.
So that's the Member of Parliament for Tolo, and also the First Deputy Minority Whip Habib Idrisu, having that banter with the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament there, Ben Anahiafo, on what's Ghana or the public or the Parliament needs to know as far as the preparation towards the World Cup, which happens in just 2 days, happening on Thursday, 11th of June, 2026 in US, Mexico, and Canada. It says that to date we've heard nothing from the sports minister, and so I'm sure we're trying to establish contact with our parliamentary correspondent to understand. Zita, are you with me? Okay, I do not have Zita on the line to really understand what was the resolution to this matter, whether or not the sports minister Kofi Adams will come to Parliament before he joins the team, probably in United States of America, hopefully on Thursday, or what exactly. But unfortunately, I'm unable to establish contact with my colleague Zita Okwan. Well, the Ashanti Regional Police Command has arrested a 39-year-old teacher of Nyinahini Catholic Senior High School for allegedly assaulting a female student, an incident captured in a viral video. The suspect, identified as Eric Aplafo, was picked by the Nyinahini District Police Patrol team at about 7 p.m. On Monday, June 8th, 2026. Police say he serves as a caretaker at the school's hostel. According to the preliminary investigations, Apaflo confronted 18-year-old student Patience Cliffrey and some male students over alleged misconduct at the hostel. A misunderstanding during the confrontation reportedly led to the assault. The incident sparked anger among some students who allegedly pelted stones at the teacher and invited youth from the town to the hostel. Police say the situation was brought under control by a patrol team. A police medical report form has been issued to the victim for medical examination and treatment. The suspect remains in police custody, assisting with investigation. The Ashanti Regional Police Command is urging the public to remain calm and use lawful, peaceful means to resolve grievances and disputes there. Well, to some of the stories, a manhunt has been launched for a tipper truck driver involved in a deadly crash on the Accra-Tema motorway that has left one person dead and two others in critical condition. The head-on collision between a fuel tanker and a tipper truck has also triggered a massive traffic gridlock on the busy stretch, leaving thousands of commuters stranded for hours. Emergency responders from the Ghana National Fire Service say they are working to clear the wreckage and ensure safety at the scene while efforts continue to restore traffic flow on the motorway. The impact of the crash has caused severe congestion with vehicles backed up for several kilometers along the route. The Ghana National Fire Service has confirmed that crew remain on standby as recovery and safety operations continue. Let's listen to Alice Kenate, who is a member of the Ghana National Fire Service communication team.
All right, so we received a running call. A running call is when someone runs to the station to report of an emergency or an incident, and so our team at the motorway quickly rushed to the scene to assess. Upon arrival, they realized that the accident or the incident involved a head-on collision between a tipper truck, and a fuel tanker. The fuel tanker was very much burning and at a fully developed stage. So our officers had to call in for reinforcement and make sure that they subdue the fire. Mind you, it's still a road where cars were passing. It could have posed more danger to other road users. So we had to be swift in order to make sure that we prevent the fire from spreading to other cars. Unfortunately, the tipper truck that had the head-on collision with the tanker, it got bent, and unfortunately, the driver of the tipper truck got bent beyond recognition. So we were able to retrieve his body, handed him over to the police. There were 3 other people, I think 2 in the tipper and 1 tanker. We are how many were in each vehicle though, but there were 3 people that were hit and have been transported to Tema General Hospital for emergency checkup.
And what happened to the other driver of the other vehicle?
Unfortunately, we couldn't find him. Eyewitnesses said that they saw him jump and flee the scene. People were blaming him for the accident, that he was speeding. That's one side of the story. But I would want to again make sure that we get him and then aid him. I'm sorry, can aid in the investigation, so that we can get to the bottom of the whole issue.
So that's Alex Kenate, who is a member of the PR team for the Ghana National Fire Service. We'll come to business shortly, but let me just do some few messages that have come through our WhatsApp console. This one says, "Good evening, KOJ. It is indeed a significant development to see our laws applied, yet it raises serious concerns about fairness in Ghana. While one individual faces the full weight of justice, many others remain untouched, continuing to mismanage state resources without consequences. True accountability demands that the same standard be applied to everyone in Ghana, regardless of their position. We must ask ourselves when the same energy will be brought to address the countless other cases of corruption that undermine our progress." Wanda Vate in Ho Central shares this message with us. Francis in Accra says, "Hi KOJ, to MPP now Sednam is in. They will ask Ken Ofrata to also come or face issues in the courts. To Kolebu Konvanoche Teaching Hospital doctors, the MPP politics they are, please, we cannot justify that they're doing MPP politics. Let's stop that. To all NDC appointees, you should know that all odds are against them to make the government bad." Okay, that's what he also shares with us. Martin Kwame said him, Suvik Pando constituency says, Good evening, KOJ. Since when has the suspension of a CEO for 2 weeks for investigation become a crime? For which reason doctors would embark on a strike to show their solidarity? Well, they've called off the strike anyway. We're just not professionally serious in this country. Shame on them. Martin shares that message with us. Parkway in La Paz says, KOJ, now that Sedem Tamaklo has been extradited, what about Ken Ofrata, who's done worse than Sedinam? Okay. The process is ongoing, just like we indicated earlier. Efo Komla in Stone City says that Kwame, the return to Ghana by former slugboy Sedam Tamaklo to face imprisonment sentence are in the best interest of the country and the nation. The teacher who assaulted a student should be made to go to jail. I'm sure that's what you mean. Micro minorities question on how the youth and sports minister to appear in parliament over the budget for the national team as right calls made by the micro minorities. If Komla shared that message with us, you can also share us with us before I take leave of you this evening on a 505. But it's time we need to talk business this evening, and Nana Jima Prempe is seated.
In business tonight, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kasiala Toforsin, has announced that Ghana has revised its expected petroleum revenue for 2026 to about $1.5 billion, up from the original budget projected of $985 million, as higher international crude oil prices boost the country's expected earnings from the sector. According to him, the upward revision was driven largely by rising crude oil prices linked to development in the Middle East. The original 2026 petroleum revenue projection of $985 million was based on a benchmark crude oil price of $72.22 per barrel, marginally higher than the $74.70 per barrel used in the 2025 budget statement and economic policy. He spoke in an interview on Bloomberg in London.
We estimated approximately $1 billion United States dollars from the oil revenue this year going to the heritage stabilization and annual budget funding amount. But that has been revised since, and we expect that instead of $1 billion, we will be expecting about $1.5 billion, for example.
Why is that? Has it been more productive?
Why is it? I think it's because, one, we had earlier on programmed the budget of 2026. We assumed that oil price would be about $70. Today, it's in excess of $90. And so there is obviously an increase. And so since we are also an exporter of oil, the country will also benefit from the high price as well.
So then if we see a peace agreement in the Middle East, how do you anticipate that then feeding through into the economy?
The good news is that because we had already programmed $70 or $74, a peace agreement that brings it back to $74 is to our advantage, because we never anticipated that it was going to go to $90 or $100.
So you heard Ghana's Finance Minister Dr. Kasiala Toforsin in an interview there with Bloomberg in London. Global spending on nuclear weapons reached a record $119 billion in 2025, underscoring fears that the world is entering a new and more dangerous era of nuclear competition. According to a new report by the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons, the world's 9 nuclear-armed states collectively increased expenditure on their nuclear arsenals by $16.8 billion compared with the previous year. The figure marks the highest level recorded since ICAN began tracking nuclear weapons expenditure, and comes at a time of worsening geopolitical tensions, weakening arms control systems, and intensifying rivalry among major military powers. The United States remained by far the largest spender, allocating an estimated $69.2 billion to its nuclear program in 2025. That was more than the combined spending of all other nuclear-armed countries. China followed with $13.5 billion, while the United Kingdom spent $12.6 billion. Russia and France recorded estimated nuclear weapons spending of $9.5 billion and $7.7 billion respectively. And that's it for business. Back to you, KOJ.
Thank you, Prempe, for bringing us business. Before we go, President John Dramani Mahama has directed the flood task of the National Disaster Management Organization, NATMO, and other relevant state agencies to prepare a comprehensive presentation on Ghana's flooding situation following recent flooding incidents across parts of the country, particularly here in the Greater Accra region. Of course, we're keeping an eye on this development. We know that President John Dramani Mahama is currently out of the country, and of course we hope that state agencies will put together comprehensive reports when President John Dramani Mahama arrives back in the country. Well, Electoral and Ghana Limited is giving you a weekly and monthly big rewards when you buy Samsung, TCL, Media and ASCO Electronics anywhere in Ghana and from any authorized dealer or reseller. Just buy your LED smart TVs, split AC, double door fridges, auto grill, gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, microwaves, blenders, mobile phones, and many more from Samsung, TCL, Media, NASCO, and dial star 928 star 8888 hash, star 928 star 8888 hash, or go to register.electrolandraffles.com to enter weekly and monthly draws approved by NLA on the Caritas platform. Electoral and Ghana Limited, rewarding your patronage the big way. Always remember that TNC is applied. That's all for 505 this evening. We came to you live from our studios here at Dickinson address G0423598 North Laboni. Third day work on Class 91.3 FM in Accra, across the country and across the world on classfmonline.com. We're back tomorrow at 5 p.m. on Class 91.3 505. Good evening. My name is Kwame Okyere Jnr.
Bringing you the best in television